Do you ever look up at all the clouds in the sky and marvel at all their different shapes? Do you notice how some of them are thick and puffy, while others are delicate and wispy? Hello everyone, I'm Kathleen Pelly. Welcome to Journey with Story. I'm sure that many of you really enjoy gazing up at the beautiful clouds that sail across the sky. Today's episode is a beautiful tale from Japan that explains why the Japanese use the same word for both a spider and a cloud. Let's take a listen and see how a spider can be connected to a cloud. You may notice that the beginning of this story is very much like another Japanese tale from our podcast. Thanks to all of our listeners who have been rating and reviewing our podcast. If you haven't already done so, do take a moment now to rate, review and share this podcast with others. Let's take a journey with the Spider Weaver. Long ago, there was a young farmer named Yosako. One day he was working in the fields and saw a snake about to eat a spider. Yosako felt sorry for the spider, so he ran at the snake with his hoe and drove it away. The spider disappeared into the grass, but first it seemed to pause a moment and bow in thanks toward Yosako. One morning, not long after that, Yosako was in his house when he heard a tiny voice outside calling, "Yosako, Yosako." He opened the door and saw a beautiful girl standing there. "I heard that you are looking for someone to weave cloth for you," said the girl. "Won't you please let me live here and weave for you?" Yosako was very pleased because he did need someone to help him. He showed the girl the weaving room and she started to work at the loom with cotton. At the end of the day, Yosako went to see what she had done and was very surprised to find that she had woven 8 long pieces of cloth, enough to make 8 kimonos. He had never known anyone could weave so much in a single day. "However did you weave so much cloth?" he asked the girl. But instead of answering him, she said, "You must not ask me that. And you must never come into the weaving room while I am at work." But Yosako was very curious. So one day, he slipped quietly to the weaving room and peeped in the window. What he saw really surprised him. It was not the girl who was seated at the loom, but a large spider, weaving very fast with its 8 legs, and for thread it was using its own spider web, which came out of its mouth. Yosako looked again and saw that it was the same spider that he had saved from the snake. Then he understood. The spider had been so thankful that it had wanted to do something to help him. So it had turned itself into a beautiful girl to help him weave cloth. By eating the cotton that was in the weaving room, it could spin it into thread and weave it into cloth very quickly. Yosako was very grateful for the spider's help. He saw that the cotton was almost used up, so the next morning he set out for the nearest village on the other side of the mountains to buy some more. He bought a big bundle of cotton and started home, carrying it on his back. Along the way, a terrible thing happened. As Yosaku sat down to rest, the same snake that he had driven away from the spider came and slipped inside the bundle of cotton. But Yosaku didn't know about this. So he carried the cotton home and gave it to the girl. She was very glad to get the cotton because she had now used up all the cotton that was left. So she took it and went into the weaving room. As soon as the girl was inside, she turned back into a spider and began eating the cotton so that she could spin it into thread. The spider ate and ate and ate, and then suddenly, when it had eaten down to the bottom of the bundle, the snake jumped right out of the cotton and straight at her. The snake opened its mouth wide to swallow the spider. The spider was very frightened and jumped out the window, but the snake went wriggling after it. But the spider had eaten so much cotton that it couldn't run fast, and the snake soon caught up with it. Again, the snake opened its mouth wide to gulp the spider down. But just then, a wonderful thing happened. Old Man Sun, up in the sky, had been watching what was happening. He knew how kind the spider had been to Yosaku, and he felt very sorry for the poor little spider. So he reached down with a sunbeam and caught hold of the end of the web that was sticking out of the spider's mouth, and he gently lifted the spider high up into the sky, where the snake could not reach her. The spider was very grateful to Old Man Sun for saving her from the snake, and so she used all the cotton inside her body to weave many beautiful, fleecy clouds high up in the sky. This is the reason, they say, why clouds are soft and white like cotton, and also why a spider and a cloud are both called by the same name in Japan, Kumo. Well, did you recognize what other Japanese story this was similar to? At least at the beginning. Yes, it's very like a story called The White Crane, which is episode 142 on our podcast. If you want to go back now, you could take a listen to that story and compare it. And the next time you look up at the clouds and the sky, you might remember this beautiful story. And remember, if this story painted any images in your mind, do send us your drawings. Just go to www.journeywithstory.com, click on the contact page and download it there. Oh, an exciting announcement, mums and dads, everyone. If you take a look at my website, www www.kathleenpelly.com, you will see some news about my upcoming picture book that will release later this year. Cheerio then. Join me next time for Journey with Story. Music and post-production was by Colette Jonas.